Welcome to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, April 26, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a very, very busy day, very busy news day. So we're going to discuss some of these stories that took place today. Well, we see in North Carolina, we saw there was a press conference today regarding the killing of Andrew Brown Jr. And body cam video shows his hands were on the steering wheel before North Carolina deputies shot him, according to family and attorneys. Now, only 20 seconds of the video was allowed to be seen by attorneys and two family members. We're going to talk about this a little bit. It's a strange case, and the attorneys and family were supposed to be able to see the body cam footage today, but the authorities are saying they want to redact the body cam footage and obscure the faces of law enforcement. So it's a very, very strange case that is taking place in North Carolina. Now, also today, we saw that Attorney General Merrick Garland has announced a patterns of practice investigation into the Louisville Police Department. And we know it was the Louisville, this is in Louisville, Kentucky. We know it was the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department that was involved in, that the officer was from, that Louisville Metro Police Department, that the officer was involved in, was from, who shot and killed Breonna Taylor. And this investigation into the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department comes after many people have been calling for this type of investigation to take place of this police department, and also after we saw that Attorney General Daniel Cameron did not bring charges against any of the officers in direct relationship to the killing of Breonna Taylor also. So we'll talk some about this. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced this today. Now, this is the second investigation into the patterns and practices of police departments in about a week. We know last week he announced one into the Minnesota Police Department also. And this is a change from the Trump administration, because the Trump administration basically took a hands-off approach to policing and investigations into police departments. All right. And we know this is one of the first things that Attorney General Jeff Sessions did when he became Attorney General. He said that the investigations into police departments he basically said they had a negative effect and tended to negatively impact the morale of police officers. Okay, so we have this investigation into the Louisville Police Department as well. And then the results of the 2020 census came out today. And new census numbers shift political power south to Republican strongholds. New census numbers shift political power south to Republican strongholds. And we see that you have some states that have lost congressional representation in the House of Representatives, like Michigan. Michigan has lost, Michigan will lose one congressional seat. We see that Texas has picked up 2 congressional seats. And so we'll talk about what this means as well. Okay. All right. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. We deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, the 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, Kemet, the 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, to sign up for our email newsletter there as well. The online course that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, where they didn't teach you in school. We have a new section of the class starting up Saturday, May 1st, 2021, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday, May 1st, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So we deal with thousands of years of history. We deal with ancient Africa, the Nile Valley region of Africa, ancient Kemet, Ta-Nehisi, Nubia, Ethiopia, Abyssinia, and we deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place also, okay? And we deal with what the Moors took into Europe. They take the teachings from ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, and the Nile Valley region of Africa into Europe, and these teachers are going to bring Europe out of the Dark Ages. Okay, so we just posted the link here. The class is regularly $130. It's on sale $80. We do the class live each Saturday. It's a 9-week, 18-hour online course. So we do it live each Saturday, 12 noon to about 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch it over and over again. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have video clips, book references, articles. It's about 50 articles that I reference. We do current events that tie into history as well. Like the lost city of Egypt that was just discovered, that dates back about 3,000 years ago. So it's a fantastic course. You can watch from around the world. We just posted the link. You can register for it. As soon as you register, you can watch the content of the class that just ended last week. Okay, so it's like 10 sessions there that you can watch. This new course that I'm doing, I'm going to revise some things, add some new information also. So it's going to be fantastic. All right, and also you can visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information there. All right, I want to jump into this first story here. This is, disturbing. Now, I don't deal with a lot of police shootings and police killings on the show. We deal with some. I post more content about it on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, than we talk about here on the show. One, the show's an hour. Two, I have to do the show 6 days a week. I don't want to talk about police killings every day. Okay, it's a ton of information that I consume on a daily basis. I just deal with a fraction of it here. Okay, and since we deal with a number of different topics, I don't want to deal with police killings for an hour. I have enough content to do that, but I don't want to do that. But we're going to talk about this one here for a little bit. So we're going to go to clip one, Shakita. There was a press conference held today in North Carolina. The family of Andrew Brown Jr. Was shown 20 seconds of the body cam video of the shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. that took place last Wednesday. Okay. Now, attorneys for the family of Andrew Brown Jr. say they are outraged after Brown's family was shown only a snippet of the body cam video. Attorney Benjamin Crump said, "We do not feel that we got transparency." One of the families, he's one of the family's attorneys. He said, "We only saw a snippet of the video when we know that the video started before and after what they showed the family." Let's go to this clip, Shakita. Okay, we'll get it queued up. Now, the family of Andrew Brown Jr. says police body cam video shows he was executed, by officers while, quote, trying to save his own life, end quote. Press play.
Demands to see the body camera video finally met this afternoon. Andrew Brown Jr.'s family watched it 20 times before concluding the shooting was what they call criminal.
Dad got executed just by trying to save his own life.
Just as troubling, they say, Pasquotank County released only 20 seconds of footage from one officer's body camera. Lawyers for the Brown family say at least 8 other deputies also recorded the events.
Why is it that they get to choose what's the pertinent parts of the video to show the family?
Grainy images snapped by a witness show the aftermath. Brown's windshield with at least 4 bullet holes. The shooting unfolded early Wednesday when deputies served a warrant on Brown for allegedly selling illegal drugs. Ashley Bechtel with catty corner across the street upstairs looking out her bedroom window as deputies arrived.
He pulled up in that driveway, or he lost control, went in that driveway and hit that tree.
Bechtel is related to the victim through marriage.
And they shot out the back window of his car. And he lost control and he ended up across the street. And he hit a tree. They crowded around his car. They were shooting the front window of his car.
From where you were standing, did it appear that his car speeding away could be perceived as a threat to the officers where they were standing?
No, because they were standing behind him.
7 deputies have been placed on administrative leave while authorities investigate. Tonight, the county in a statement says in part, state law allows us to provide a private viewing of the body camera footage to the family. The law also allows us to blur some faces on the video, and that process takes time. As the city now prepares for more protests tonight, the lawyers representing Andrew Brown say they'll now conduct their own private autopsy to determine if, as they allege, Brown was shot in the back.
Okay, pause it right there. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on the Antenna and the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. We'll be back from break in about 3 or 4 minutes. Stand by. All right, how's everybody doing? Stand by. Okay, how's everybody doing? We have DJ Rihanna, Denise, we got Robert, Shirley, just a few of the people watching. Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. We'll be back from break in 2 minutes. Okay, we've got Michael Johnson, Sharon. Okay, who still needs to register for the online course that I'm teaching starting Saturday, May 1st? Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa. Understand the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We just posted the link here. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, April 26th, 2021, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. So right before the break, we were talking about the case out of North Carolina dealing with Andrew Brown Jr. He was shot and killed last Wednesday, and there was a press conference that took place today because the family and the family's attorneys are demanding to see the full body camera footage and the full dash cam footage, whatever the sheriff's department has. They want to see all of the footage. Okay, now we'll go to the phone lines here in just a minute. So loved ones of Andrew Brown Jr., 42 years old, expected to be shown the body cam video just before noon today, but the viewing was pushed back several hours because of red actions sought by the county attorney. Family attorneys said. Now, we're gonna go to clip 2 here in just a second, Shakita. But even in 20 seconds of the video, Andrew Brown Jr.'s loved one said it was clear that he was not a threat to law enforcement and should not have been gunned down. They said he was not a threat to law enforcement and should not have been gunned down. Now, Roland Martin is down in North Carolina. He did a number of interviews. He's live on location down there. He's been doing an excellent job of covering this story. Okay, and he broadcasted on Roland Martin Unfiltered today, and had a lot of coverage of what's going on down there. He did interviews with Reverend William Barber III, who's in North Carolina. He had Benjamin Crump today on as well. I think he had Benjamin Crump on because he talked about he talked to some of the attorneys who were involved in this case as well. Okay, so be sure to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered on Facebook and YouTube. And you know, I'm a panelist on his show every Friday as well. Okay, so Khalil Farabee told reporters outside the county sheriff's office, he said, "My dad got executed just trying to save his own life. My dad got executed just trying to save his own life. It ain't right. It ain't right at all." Now, family attorney Chantel Cherry Lassiter said the video, and we're going to go to this. I'm going to turn on the screen share and flip over to this article from NBC News also. Family attorney Chantel Cherry Lassiter said the video showed Brown in his vehicle. And let me turn this on here just 1 second. She said the video showed Brown in his vehicle as it was blocked in the driveway in Elizabeth City by law enforcement, making an escape impossible. Okay, now the video has not been, at this point in time, the video has not been released to the public, not even the 20 seconds of the video. News outlets have not been able to corroborate what the family and attorneys are saying. Not saying that they are stating anything that's inaccurate, but just so you understand, none of the video has been released yet. Okay, so attorney Cherry Lassiter said Andrew had his hands on the steering wheel. He was not reaching for anything. He was not touching anything. Okay. She said he had his hands firmly on the steering wheel. They run up to his vehicle shooting. He still stood there, sat there in his vehicle with his hands on the steering wheel while being shot at. We're going to go to clip 2 here. This is from the press conference today. This is the second press conference. This is today. This was after they were able to view 20 seconds of the video. Now, following the fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr., the police only showed the family a 20-second body camera video of the incident, and it's only from one body camera. Okay, there were multiple officers involved, but the family was only shown one body camera and only 20 seconds of that footage. Attorneys along with the family demanded to see all footage from the deadly shooting and asked for full transparency. Let's go to this clip.
Brown was in his driveway. The sheriff truck blocked him in his driveway, so he could not exit his driveway. Andrew had his hands on his steering wheel. He was not reaching for anything. He wasn't touching anything. He wasn't throwing anything around. He had his hands firmly on the steering wheel. They run up to his vehicle shooting. He still sat there in his vehicle with his hands on the steering wheel while being shot at.
We want to say on the record from the onset, we do not feel that we got transparency. We only saw a snippet of the video. When we know that the video started before and after what they showed the family. And they determined what was pertinent. Why couldn't the family see all the video? They only showed one body cam video, even though we know there were several body cam videos if they were following the law and the policy in this county that everybody has video cameras on their uniforms.
It's like we against all odds in this world. My dad got executed just by trying to save his own life. You know, he was not in the officers was not in no harm of him at all. It's just messed up how this happened, man. Real. He got executed. It ain't right. It ain't right at all.
Okay, so that was part of the second press conference that took place today after they were shown 20 seconds of the body camera footage, and they had to go through a lot just to get that. Okay, so a lot of legal analysts are saying what's going on down there is really crazy. They haven't really seen something like this before. So you're going to hear more about this. We know protests are going on tonight. Roland Martin is airing footage of protests that are taking place down in that area tonight as well. I want to go back to this article here quickly from NBC News, and then we'll go to the phone lines. So, you know, once again, I have to use judgment in how much of these stories that I cover, because a lot of this stuff is like really, really depressing. And I consume a lot more of this than I share. And, you know, I want to balance being informative. I don't want to be inflammatory. I don't want to be depressing, but keep people informed, abreast about what's going on also. Now, the family conceded that, well, first of all, when you have incidences like this, there are no perfect victims, number one, okay? Just so people understand. So a arrest warrant was being served, and the arrest warrant was involved. It was alleged that Andrew Brown was he was being arrested for I think it was distribution of drugs. Okay, that's what it was alleged. All right. Now, whether he could be Al Capone, it doesn't mean he should be executed if that is actually what happened. Okay, that's what the court is for. All right. Now, the family conceded that Brown did try to drive away, but said he was fired upon before he tried to escape. Shell casings were flying in the video before his vehicle moved, attorney Cherry Lassiter said. She said his car was riddled with bullets, shooting him when he was not threatening them in any form or fashion. There were shell casings before he even backed out. So they were shooting at him when he was sitting there with his hands on the steering wheel in the driveway. All right, now, let's see here. Okay, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to line one. I think we have Arthur, line one. Arthur, welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from.
Hey, Mike, I'm calling from the Philadelphia area.
Oh, Philadelphia. How you doing?
Good. I don't know if you're aware of what's going on here that's rocking our area right now, the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
But it was recently reported in the newspaper as of last Friday, I think Thursday or Friday, they discovered that a University of Penn professor, in collaboration with Princeton University, has been using the bones of one of the victims of the move situation, one of the girls, has been using the bones in her anthropology class and a seminar apparently that she recorded as well.
Yeah, I read about that a little bit. Yeah. Go ahead and finish.
I wanted to bring that to your attention. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the move bombing, that was about 1980, 81 in Philadelphia. 85. I'm sorry, 85 in Philadelphia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are the sentiments of people there, of African Americans there in the Philadelphia area?
Well, everybody is upset naturally. There's supposed to be a big protest on Wednesday at the University of Penn. And the officials still have not officially contacted the family. The rights to and the mom and the mother and the father who were released from jail never even knew about this existing. And the question is, how did she acquire them? Apparently, she had some cahoots with whoever was working forensics or whatever back in that time. Now, in 2 weeks, we were going to be celebrating, or not celebrating, remembering the move bombing. The city of Philadelphia officially apologized last year. And so this year was supposed to be one of remembrance. And here we go with these shenanigans.
Right. Okay. All right, Arthur. Keep me up to date on what's going on with that. Okay, we're here 6 nights a week, so give us a call back. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Thanks, you too. Okay. Yeah, I read about that story also as well out of Philadelphia. That's a crazy story. That reminds me of Henrietta Lacks and the cells that were extracted from Henrietta Lacks and actually used for research purposes and used involved in like the polio vaccine and all different types of things like that. Henrietta Lacks. So there's a history of African Americans being used for very scientific experiments, willingly and unwillingly. But even going back to J. Marion Sims, who's known as the father of modern gynecology, and J. Marion Sims doing experiments on enslaved African people, especially enslaved African women, and doing surgeries on them without anesthesia, all different types of things like that. So yeah, there's a history surrounding this. Dr. Dana Ramey Berry wrote a book called, I have the book here. I interviewed Dr. Dana Ramey Berry. What is it called? A Pound of Her Flesh or something like that. We'll have to look up the name of that book. But Henrietta Lacks, yeah, her cells were used. I talk about Henrietta Lacks in the lecture series I do, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. There was the book by Rebecca Skloot, Skloot, Rebecca Skloot, called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. If you saw the movie Think Like a Man, that's based upon the self-help book that Steve Harvey wrote, and in Think Like a Man, you have Kevin Hart and Gabrielle Union and Megan Good. There's a scene in the beginning of the movie where Megan Good talks about I think it was some guy that she was dating or something, but he read the book The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Okay, so it's only a few seconds. If you're not familiar with the book, you're not familiar with Henrietta Lacks, you don't know that it was even mentioned in the movie. But they dropped that little piece of information in the movie. And then we know there was a movie, I think it was HBO, that Oprah Winfrey starred in as well, dealing with Henrietta Lacks. But we're going to go to clip 3 in just a minute here, Shakita. But being that we mentioned Henrietta Lacks here very briefly, I want to go to a slide from my presentation, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. Henrietta Lacks was a poor tobacco farmer in Virginia. In 1951, a scientist at Johns Hopkins Hospital took a sample of her tumor. Okay, she went in because she was not feeling well, and then tumors were discovered. They took a sample of her tumor and examined it, and they discovered that her cells never died. Her cells never died. They replicated themselves. And her cells were used to develop vaccines. Okay. Vaccines for polio were created using her cells. So now her cells were used for a number of different scientific breakthroughs, including scientific landmarks, including cloning, gene mapping, and in vitro fertilization, as well as vaccines for polio were developed using her cells. Okay. Her family for years did not know that her cells were being used for scientific experiments and things like this. Her family was never financially compensated for it as well. And also, her cells were even taken into outer space to see how her cells reacted to gravity or something like that. It's real, but it's a crazy story at the same time when you study Henrietta Lacks. Okay, and what happened there. All right. 313-778-7600 is the calling number. If you have a quick question or comment, 313-778-7600 is the calling number. If you have a quick question or comment. Now, going back to the story here out of North Carolina. So Andrew Brown Jr. was killed last Wednesday. Okay, so that would have been Wednesday, April 21st, as deputies sought to serve a warrant for his arrest on felony drug charges, authorities said. Okay, now this is not I'm just giving you the background information. This does not justify if an execution did take place, because we haven't seen the video, but if an execution did take place, this doesn't justify execution, but this is just explaining what happened. Now, a search warrant affidavit made public on Monday, April 26th, accused Andrew Brown Jr. of selling cocaine, crack, meth, and heroin. All right. So once again, we don't know if he was, but this is what the search warrant alleged. And let me flip over here. I want to go to I want to scroll down just a second here. Okay. Here we go. All right. I want to go back to the article here from NBC News for just a second. All right, now, the county attorney, R. Michael Cox, COX, Pasquotank County Attorney, R. Michael Cox said in a statement earlier on Monday that state law, quote, allows us to blur some faces on the video, and that process takes time. Okay, state law. So different states, as we talked about on our Sunday show, and we're going to be re-airing our show from Sunday. Show from Sunday was deep because we dealt with how slavery evolved in the 13 colonies, and in 1619, when those 20 and odd Africans on the White Lion pirate ship come into Virginia. Codified slave laws don't exist in any of the 13 colonies, and we deal with how this system evolves, and we dealt with chapter 2 of Before the Mayflower by Lerone Bennett Jr. So Sunday's class was a deep history lesson. But what this is, so you, as I've said before, you have 50 individual state governments, okay, that operate under one U.S. Constitution. Different states have different laws, and states' rights are given to the states based upon the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So, County Attorney R. Michael Cox said in a statement that state law allows us to blur some faces on the video, and that process takes time. Now, the family complained that they were shown 20 seconds of body cam video from just one of at least 8 responding deputies, okay? From one of at least 8 responding deputies. No dash cam video was shown, they said, okay? Now, County Attorney R. Michael Cox could not be immediately reached for comment late Monday afternoon. Andrew Brown Jr. was killed Wednesday, April 21st, as deputies sought to serve a warrant for his arrest on felony drug charges. The circumstances of his death remain unclear. 7 deputies have been put on administrative leave. 3 deputies have resigned. So it's a total of 10 deputies, okay, that they're talking about right here. 7 deputies have been put on administrative leave. 3 deputies have resigned. It's possible one of those 3 retired, okay? But this is what you're dealing with here. A spokesperson for the sheriff's office said their resignations were unrelated to the shooting, okay? But 7 of the deputies that are put on administrative leave were involved in the shooting. Now, the shooting occurred in a residential neighborhood in Elizabeth City in North Carolina, which is about 35 miles south of Norfolk, Virginia. All right, now, also a state of emergency has been declared in Elizabeth City as well. Earlier Monday, before the 20 seconds of video footage was released. Now, this is like really strange. This is, people can say what they want to about Ben Crump. He's doing a whole lot more to hold police officers accountable than these Negroes that sit up and criticize him. Okay, and what I find interesting is, like, if you don't like Ben Crump handling these cases, then what are you doing to stop police from killing us so he doesn't have to handle these cases? I just find it very interesting, but whatever. A state in Elizabeth City, before any video footage was released, I want people to understand this. This is how bad the video actually is. Before any of the video was released, they already declared a state of emergency in the city of Elizabeth City. Well, what's the emergency? Is it because the video is that bad That's why you're declaring a state of emergency. Earlier Monday, Elizabeth City Mayor Betty Parker declared a state of emergency ahead of the release of the video and a potential, quote, period of civil unrest, end quote. The video can be publicly released only by a judge. And now, Attorney Benjamin Crump said something very interesting today. He said if the video was showing Andrew Brown doing something wrong, they would have already released the video. If the video showed Andrew Brown doing something wrong, that exonerated the police, that justified the police killing him, they would have already released the video. But they haven't released the video, but they're calling for a state of emergency. So one of the things that people are talking about, see, these county prosecutors, this is an elected position. So a lot of people are saying, wait a second, next election, this county prosecutor needs to be voted out of office. We don't have to tolerate this stuff. These people are elected. They were elected into office. Their asses can be voted out of office. That's all it is to it. All right, very quickly here, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to John, line 2. John, thanks for holding. Welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from, John. Do we have John, line 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm calling from Detroit on the east side.
Okay.
I hope you exactly right. The video got to be bad and downright rotten. That's what they doing, trying to hold the video. And the people's been elected there, so that's where they can fight like hell to get the result and get the people's justice down there, so forth. I'm glad you said they was elected, and so that's good news. You spoke about a lot of the medicine and stuff like when you come down south. I don't know if you're familiar with that so-called red oak. The Southern people, the African American people, used to make medicine out of it, and it was genuine, great medicine for stomach and kidneys and everything. And he called the red oak. It come out of a red oak tree. They boil it and get all kinds of nutrients out of it. It's antioxidant, fight all kinds of infections. So I just wonder when you meet with the red oak in the South that African Americans used to use for addiction and so forth.
I've heard of red oak. I don't think I've used it before, man. My parents are from the South, so it's no telling, but I've heard of red oak. Have you used it before?
Well, no, I know some people used to talk about it from the South. That's why I wonder if you heard about it and so forth.
Oh, okay.
And, they said it was genuine medicine that the people use for stomach ache, stomach problems, and kidney problems, and prostate problems. And
right.
So I just wonder when you been with it all for.
No, I've heard of it, but a lot of the expertise dealing with herbs, those were skills that we brought with us from Africa, and we brought them here to this country.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's why I wondered,
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, we brought them here to this country. So. Okay. All right, John. Thanks for calling. Keep listening. Okay. All right. Let's shift gears here. And also Bakari Sellers attorney Bakari Sellers was at the press conference today. He's one of the attorneys for the family as well. So you'll hear more about this story. This is a crazy story out of North Carolina. I want to go to this next story. We're going to go to Louisville, Kentucky. We're going to go to Kentucky for this one here. Attorney General Merrick Garland has announced another investigation into the patterns of practices of police departments. This one deals with the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department. And this is after the killing of Breonna Taylor. All right. Let's go to clip 3. Shakita, the Department of Justice announces an investigation into the patterns and practices of the Louisville Police Department.
Healthcare worker who was shot to death in her own apartment by police during a botched effort to serve a search warrant a year ago was one of the catalysts for a summer of nationwide protests. Now the Justice Department says it will investigate the Louisville Police Department to see if there's a pattern or practice of violating civil rights.
Promoting public trust between communities and law enforcement is essential to making both communities and policing safer.
The investigation will look at whether Louisville police have a pattern of using unreasonable force, including against peaceful protesters, of engaging in racial discrimination in traffic stops, or of illegally searching private homes. It will also look at how police are trained and supervised and how they're held accountable when things go wrong. Both Louisville's mayor and police chief say they welcome the Justice Department's investigation.
I think that it's necessary because police reform, quite honestly, is needed in near every agency across the country.
With last week's announcement about Minneapolis, this now makes 2 new civil rights investigations of police departments, and tonight officials say there will be more.
Okay. So now this is what happens. This is an election. This is a consequence of elections. Elections are consequences. Okay. This is a big difference between the Trump administration that took a handoff approach to policing and the Biden administration that is focused on holding police officers accountable. This is the second investigation within a week or so into the patterns of practices of police departments. First, it was the Minneapolis Police Department. Washington Post, New York Times have articles dealing with this. Justice Department to investigate Louisville police practices after Breonna Taylor fatal shooting. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced Monday that the Justice Department will open a civil rights investigation into the Louisville Metro Police Department 13 months after the shooting death of Breonna Taylor, a African-American woman whose killing was among the flashpoints that sparked mass social justice protests across the nation last summer 2020. Now, Attorney General Merrick Garland said the federal pattern or practice probe will seek to determine whether the Louisville police have engaged in a history of abusive and unlawful tactics with little accountability. Abusive and unlawful tactics with little accountability. Marking the second time in 5 days, Attorney General Merrick Garland has sought to use federal power to examine a local law enforcement agency's use of deadly force. Okay, now you've got Trump was in office for 4 years. There was one investigation under the Trump administration. There were 24 under the 8 years of President Barack Obama. There were more investigations under President Obama than any previous president. Okay, now the Department of Justice was given the authority to investigate police departments. That's part of the '94 crime bill. That's where that power comes from, the 1994 crime bill that very few people actually understand because they haven't researched it. But that's a whole nother story. Those watching on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, keep watching. We're going to keep broadcasting for a few more minutes. We're out of time here on 910 AM, the Superstation, WFDF. If you like this type of information, also, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN Show, paypal.me /the AHN Show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button. Remember, right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. All right. Stand by. Let me disconnect this call. Okay. All right. Stand by. Now, hopefully, people in Kentucky will vote Attorney General Daniel Cameron out of office next election, because that's an elected position also. So you see, there's a big difference between Attorney General Keith Ellison, okay, of Minnesota, whose office prosecuted Derek Chauvin and got him convicted. There's a big difference between Keith Ellison, who's African American, and Daniel Cameron, who's African American. Elections have consequences. All right. we'll take a quick break here. You're watching the African History Network show. Everybody share this broadcast on your Facebook fan page, on your Facebook pages and your YouTube channels, etc. And we'll be back in a few minutes.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
Are you getting ready for fall or winter? We have the solution for all seasonal clothing needs. Kemeticwear.com is the go-to online source for Kemetic African fashion and lifestyle products with a contemporary twist. We're committed to offering unique styles reflecting our African heritage. Kemeticwear.com is inspired by KemeticScribes.com to influence our people in learning and showing pride. Please visit our website at Kemeticwear.com.
We all know the cannabis industry is headed toward an uprise in the past decade. What happens when there is a brand that brings this uprise in a blow? The cannabis industry welcomes her uprise. Hustle her hemp. Delivering excellence with pride is her watchword, and how you choose to embrace it makes it a priority. From cultivating rich cannabis into exquisite and tastefully finished CBD products to delivery, Hustle Her Hemp leaves no stone unturned. Hustle Her Hemp's mission is to empower women of color by building business and creating legacies, uniting beauty, health, and business. We are a pure definition of how we want the CBD industry to become in the future. While we are redefining innovation, we bring the same energy to improving the quality of life. Hustle Her Hemp is the new uprise.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-67.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on Facebook and YouTube. All right, follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP, on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, I want to go to this next clip here. This deals with the investigation that Attorney General Merrick Garland announced today into the patterns of practices of the Louisville Police Department. And this is something that's very important. Now, under the Trump administration, see, once again, what Trump did was he reversed a lot of the reforms that the Obama administration and a lot of the policies the Obama administration put in place, dealing with policing and criminal justice, et cetera. Just like it was the Trump Justice Department, starting with Jeff Sessions, that backed off of under Attorney General Eric Holder in 2013, the Smart on Crime initiative, the Department of Justice backed off of charging the longest, harshest sentences for low-level nonviolent drug offenders. The Jeff Sessions Department of Justice, they reversed that because, see, Jeff Sessions was against criminal justice reform. Okay, you have to go research Senator Jeff Sessions out of Alabama. He was a hardliner. He was against criminal justice reform. So it was hell with him as Attorney General. It was hell as with a criminal like William Barr as Attorney General as well. But under the 4 years of Donald Trump, there were only 4 investigations into the patterns and practices of police departments. There have been 2 announced in 5 days with Attorney General Merrick Garland under the Joe Biden administration. So you do the math. 1 in 4 years with Trump, 2 announced in 5 days with Joe Biden and Attorney General Merrick Garland. All right, now I want to go to this clip here. Now this is Pete Williams for NBC News and MSNBC dealing with the Department of Justice Louisville policing investigation and explaining what happens when there's a change in administration. What happens when there's a change in administration? Let's go to this clip.
He, of course, announcing a pattern and practices investigation into the Louisville. He, of course, announcing a pattern and practices investigation into the Louisville Police Department just a short time after they did a similar move in the Minneapolis Police Department. What were your takeaways here, and what are we going to see happen next?
Well, takeaways are, number one, I mean, this is what happens when there's a change in administrations and an entirely different philosophy of the utility of these pattern or practice investigations. The Trump administration under Jeff Sessions and William Barr both thought that they did more harm than good and were disruptive to the police. Clearly, under this president, they've gone back to the practice that's been used by members of both parties in the past, that these ultimately do more good than harm and are good not only for the police department, but also for the community. Now, a different set of things they're going to look at than in Minneapolis. There are some overlaps. They say they'll look at whether there's unreasonable force. That's the same as in Minneapolis, including in protests, same thing there. But then this is a little different, looking at whether Louisville police engaged in a discriminatory practice of pulling people over, driving while black in essence, unreasonable, unconstitutional stops, searches and seizures. And then, of course, the key to the Breonna Taylor case, search warrants on private homes. It was during the application of a search warrant, the execution of a search warrant, that whole botched operation ended up in her death and was one of the leading components of the Black Lives Matter protest. And then also on the question of unlawful discrimination based on race and handicapped people, he specifically mentioned here the American with Disabilities Act and whether the police department is conforming with that. And then, as in Minneapolis, look at the policies of the police, how are they trained, and whether they're held accountable. And in both these cases, they've now announced the launching of this pattern or practice, which is, is there a pattern or a practice of discrimination? But they've already been looking at these questions before. That there is an initial look-see before they formally announced the opening of this investigation.
Yep. All right. So more to come there. That's good news. And also, there's going to be more investigations into the police departments coming very shortly. Now, Justice Department officials, and I'm looking at the reporting from the Washington Post, Justice Department officials said the Louisville investigation will be conducted separately from an ongoing criminal civil rights probe into Breonna Taylor's death. Okay, the Justice Department officials said the Louisville investigation will be conducted separately from an ongoing criminal civil rights probe into Breonna Taylor's death. The broader civil rights investigation, Attorney General Merrick Garland said, will determine whether the department engages in unreasonable force, unconstitutional searches and seizures, and unlawful executions of search warrants on private homes. It will also examine how the Louisville police tactics impact racial groups, how the Louisville police tactics impact racial groups. Now, the goal, Attorney General Merrick Garland said, and let me pull this up here. Okay. The goal, Attorney General Merrick Garland said, is to ensure the policing policies and practices are constitutional and lawful. And I want to go to the article here from the Washington Post. Okay, where are we here? Let's flip over to the article from the Washington Post for just a second. Justice Department to investigate Louisville police practices after Breonna Taylor fatal shooting from April 26, 2021. Okay, Garland said the federal pattern or practice probe will seek to determine whether the Louisville police have engaged in systemic abuses and unlawful tactics with little accountability, making the second time in 5 days he has sought to use federal power to examine a local law enforcement agency's use of deadly force. Let me see here. Now, President Joe Biden is expected to address the issue in his first speech to a joint session of Congress on Wednesday, White House aides said. The Trump administration sought to end federal investigations of local police departments, which had been used with increasing frequency in the final years of President Barack Obama's tenure. But Attorney General Merrick Garland has moved quickly to restore the Justice Department's ability to wield federal authority to force reforms. Now, let's see here. Okay, Justice Department officials said the Louisville investigation will be separate from an ongoing criminal civil rights probe into Breonna Taylor's death. The broader civil investigation, Attorney General Merrick Garland said, will seek to determine whether the city's police force engages in unreasonable force, unconstitutional searches and seizures, and unlawful executions of search warrants on private homes. It will also examine how Louisville police tactics affect racial groups and whether the department consistently provides services required under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, Attorney General Merrick Garland said all of these steps will help. All of these steps will be taken with one goal in mind: to ensure that policing policies and practices are constitutional and lawful. That is the same goal as that of our investigation in Minneapolis and of every pattern or practice investigation that the department undertakes. Okay, so read the rest of this article here, because I have to get this next story. Post a link here. NBC News has a good article dealing with this also. All right. Okay, lastly, I want to get to the story here dealing with the census results, okay? Because this is extremely important also. And there was a now you've heard me talk about the importance of the census before and how this ties into congressional representation in the House of Representatives, and then also how this ties into the Electoral College as well. All of this is connected, and with the census, that deals with a distribution of resources. Okay, so the census is a reallocation of $1.5 trillion in resources. Also, the U.S. Census. So we got information today regarding this. I want to pull up this article here from NBC News. Let's see here. Can we go to this one? All right. We'll go to this one here in just a second. So we got this information today, and we see that some Democratic leaning states will lose congressional representation. And we see that some Republican states will gain representation. Let's see here. Let me pull up this one here. Okay. And let's go to this. All right, and everybody be sure to register for my new online course that starts Saturday, May 1st, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is a 9-week, 18-hour online course that I teach. We deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. All right, let's go to this article here. Okay, so Texas will pick up 2 seats in the House of Representatives in the newest census, while Democratic stronghold states will lose out. Now, when we look at New York, for instance, the state of New York, if the state of New York had counted just 89 more people. This is how serious this is. It's the state of New York had counted just 89 more people, then they would not lose a seat in the House of Representatives. Okay. Because they're going to lose a seat in the House of Representatives, it looks like. Let me back up here. Okay. We'll get that clip queued up here. All right, let's look at this article here from NBC News. Texas picks up 2 House seats in newest census, while Democratic stronghold states lose out. Okay, so the Census Bureau on Monday released state population totals that determine each state's number of House of Representative seats, with just 7 seats moving among 13 states, the smallest shift since the current congressional apportionment model was adopted in the 1940s. Now, Texas was the big winner, gaining 2 House seats. Colorado, Montana, Oregon, Florida, and North Carolina each gained 1 seat. Now, the state of Michigan, where I am, is going to lose a seat. Illinois is going to lose a seat. Pennsylvania will lose 1 as well. I want to pull up this graphic here from ABC News. Just a second here. Okay. This shows you the breakdown. So when we look at the House of Representatives, gaining seats will be Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, Oregon. They will all gain 1 seat in the House of Representatives. Texas will gain 2 seats in the House of Representatives. Losing seats in the House of Representatives will be California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. They'll all lose 1 seat in the House of Representatives. This means that most of these states are Democratic states. Ohio's not, but let's look at California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania. Those are Democratic states. They're going to lose, those 5 collective states will lose 5 votes in the Electoral College. Okay. People don't understand, a lot of people don't understand the relationship between the U.S. Census and the Electoral College. The U.S. Census deals with the population count, how many seats a particular state has in the U.S. House of Representatives is based upon population. Okay, and that comes from the U.S. Census count that's taken every 10 years. The census was created by the U.S. Constitution. The census takes place every 10 years. The first U.S. Census was taken in 1790. All right, and the census is mandated by the U.S. Constitution. So, how many electoral college votes a state has is based upon how many seats in the House of Representatives a state has. You add to that the number of seats in the U.S. Senate a state has. Every state has 2 seats in the U.S. Senate based upon the Constitution. So Michigan currently has 16 electoral college votes. Michigan is going to lose 1 because of a drop in population. All right. And what this can do is this can weaken Democratic leaning states when it comes to presidential elections. Winning the election in the Electoral College, it takes at least 270 votes for a presidential candidate to become president-elect. It takes 270 Electoral College votes. Well, how do you win the Electoral College votes associated with California, which is 66, Michigan 16, Texas 38? How do you win the Electoral College votes? You win the Electoral College votes by winning the popular vote in the state. You have to win the popular vote in the state, and whoever wins the popular vote in the state, they win the Electoral College votes associated with the state. Okay, you have a few states where it is proportional, where they will the winner and the challenger, they will split the Electoral College votes, but most states is winner take all. Okay, most states, so like in Michigan, is winner take all. Okay, so Joe Biden won Michigan; he got the 16 Electoral College votes associated with Michigan. I want to go to this clip here from MSNBC. This is Steve Kornacki breaking down the numbers and explaining which states lost or gained seats in the House of Representatives from the 2020 census results.
Bureau released the first set of results from its 2020 count. Now, these new figures will essentially be used to determine how many congressional seats each state gets, as well as its share of electoral college votes. Very important in our electoral process. Here to break down the results is NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki at the big board. Steve, some significant changes here. What are you seeing initially?
Yeah, some interesting changes. Remember, what you're going to see here, these are the number of House seats that each state is going to have starting with the 2022 midterm elections for the next decade. So here, let me show you the changes here. First of all, the states that are going to be gaining seats, or a seat at least, in the House. This is the list. There are half a dozen states that are going to be gaining, led by Texas, the only state that's going to have a gain of more than 1 seat. Texas will end up with 2 additional seats in the House. That reflects, again, just growing population in Texas, growing population relative to other states around the country. Texas will now have 38 House seats starting in next year's midterm elections for the next decade. That's a gain of 2 for them. Florida is going to pick up a seat. They're going to be up to 28 House seats. North Carolina, 14. They're going to be up a seat. Colorado, Oregon, Montana. Some long-term trends here. We talk about decade after decade. Texas, Florida, North Carolina. These are states that have been gaining. The Sun Belt's been gaining, for decades now. So these are the states that are going to gain representation. At whose expense are they going to gain seats? Let me show you the states that are going to lose House seats based on this new data. Here, for the first time in history, California became a state back in 1850. This is the first time since California was admitted to the Union that it's going to lose seats. Currently, it has 53. Starting next year, California will have 52 House seats, a decline of 1 seat there. Again, California had gone up, or at least not gone down, since its founding in 1850. This is the first time California will go down in terms of a number of House seats. New York State is going to lose 1. Illinois,
And let me flip over to this graphic here so you can see this also. So first time since 1850 that California will lose a House seat. Wow, that is historic. And we know California became so April 25th, I think it was the beginning of it was the anniversary of the beginning of the Mexican-American War. I was going to talk about that here on the show, but we dealt with something else and ran out of time. And let me see, was it the April 20? Let me see here. It was April 25th, yeah. April 25th, US Mexico war begins. And we know that it was the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo of 1848 that that's how the US got California. California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Nevada, that was all Mexican territory, and that became part of the U.S. because of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Okay, so and that was a result of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is what ended the Mexican-American War. That's how the U.S. got California and all that other territory because of that war. Well, April 25th was the anniversary of the beginning of the Mexican-American War. All right, so if we look at this quickly here, so we see California is going to have, let me see here, 2020 census apportionment, losing seats. California has 52. I thought California had 66. Let me see. 38 is Texas. 66. Well, anyway. Okay, California will have 52. Illinois 17, Michigan 13, West Virginia. Now, Michigan had 16 at one point. Electoral college votes. Ohio 15, Pennsylvania will have 17, Illinois 17. Here. Yeah, Michigan had 16 electoral college votes in the November 3rd, 2020 election. Oh, I'm not sure what Kornacki's talking about, but anyway, let's go back because I'm looking at the results from the Washington Post from the 2016 presidential election, 16 electoral college votes, and the 2020 presidential election, 16. Okay. But let's go back to this clip here.
Pennsylvania, Ohio, founding in 1850. This is the first time California will go down in terms of a number of House seats. New York State is going to lose one. Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, West Virginia. Again, the big, broader, long-term trend here, Sunbelt states that we showed you on the first state, gaining over time, industrial states, Midwest states losing. And by the way, Eamon, they say these census forms matter to fill out. The difference between New York losing this House seat and walking away clean in this without losing anything, 89 more people. If there had been 89 more census forms from New York State, they wouldn't be losing a seat.
Yep. That matters. Those census forms matter. That's going to cost New York a seat in the House of Representatives. It's going to cost them a vote in the Electoral College vote. And I'm not certain, but it could cost them federal funding as well. I'm not certain on this, but federal funding is based upon when you have when you have a drop in population count, you can lose seats in the House of Representatives. Also, when you have a drop in your population count, you can lose federal funding. because the census is a redistribution of $1.5 trillion in federal funding that goes to various states. When states have an increase in population, they're going to get more money. In general, when they lose population, in general, significantly, when they lose population, they're going to lose money. Okay. So I'm not sure how much Michigan is going to lose and how much New York, but they'll probably lose some federal funding also behind this as well. But if the state of New York, if New York, and we'll go back to the article here from NBC News, if the state of New York had received 89 more census forms back, either mail them in or go online and complete it, they would not lose a seat in the House of Representatives. The losses were concentrated in the industrial Midwest, with Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio each losing a seat, okay, in the House of Representatives, as well as in this. If they lose a seat in the House of Representatives, that means they lose an electoral college vote also. Democratic strongholds, California and New York, each lost a seat. Census officials said New York would not have lost its seat in the House of Representatives if 89 more people lived in the state. 89 more people lived in the state. Basically, if 89 more people had to fill out the census form and they lived in the state of New York, they would not have lost a seat. The 89% difference was what separated New York from maintaining its 27th seat versus Minnesota keeping its 8th, which it managed to hang on to. The 89% difference was what separated New York from maintaining its 27th seat in the House of Representatives versus Minnesota keeping its 8th seat, which it managed to hang on to. Now, Kristen Koslap, a senior technical expert for the 2020 Census Appointment Division, said Monday, April 26, at a news conference that, quote, it's not unusual for there to be a small margin, end quote, in population that determines whether a state gets an additional seat, loses one, or maintains the status quo. In terms of total population, the census counted 331,449,281 Americans. 331,449,281 Americans, a 7.4% increase from the 2010 census. California remains the largest state and Wyoming the smallest state in the union. California remains the largest state in the union, and Wyoming remains the smallest state. The average population per House seat is 761,000 people, okay? An increase of more than 50,000 per district for the average of 710,000 in 2010. So the average person in the House of Representatives, their district consists of 710,000 people on average in the 2010 census. In the 2020 census, on average, 761,000 people that they represent. When it says New York, the 89, if New York would not have lost its seat if 89 more people lived in the state. So that's based upon the census forms they got back. Okay. I misstated it a minute ago when I said if 89 more people had sent back the census form. It doesn't have to be 89 more people, because you have people that live in multiple dwellings. They may live in a house that has 5 people, 6 people, 3 people. Okay. So if census forms have been sent back that total to 89 more people living in the state of New York, they would have maintained that seat in the House of Representatives. This is how crucial this is. All right. Okay, so I want to remind you that my new online course starts up Saturday, April 1st, Saturday, May 1st, 2021, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is a 9-week, 18-hour online course. We'll deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We do the class live. All the classes are recorded. You can go back and watch it over and over again. You can watch from around the world. You'll still have access to the classes. Even after the class is over with, you can go back and watch it. As soon as you register, you can watch the course that just ended last week. So there are 10 sessions there and some bonus content also. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, all types of information. So I posted the link here, but also if you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Class starts May 1st, 2021, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You go to our website, you scroll down, you'll see information for the show, well, 6 nights a week. And then information here for the online class. We have the flyer here also. Click right here to register. Class is regularly $130. It's on sale $80. You can start watching content as soon as you register. Click right here to enroll. And then you'll be ready for class on Saturday, May 1st, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Also, if you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. And African American business owners, email us at ahnshow@africanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow@africanhistorynetwork.com, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. Remember, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now, it corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Thanks for tuning in.
Black Bees products are a collection of natural, organic, personal care products with an appreciation of nature and bees. Our philosophy is without bees, we have nothing. We are honoring our Nile Valley ancestors who understood the importance of bees. Black Bees created a high-quality, natural, organic personal care line that would be affordable to everyone. We hope you try and enjoy our Black Bees products line and come back and visit us at blackbeesproducts.com.
Digital Dandelion's Technical Solutions works with businesses like yours to create an operations manual for your business, which is something many businesses don't have. According to AARP, more than 30% of small business owners are over 50 years old. Many business owners want to retire by selling their businesses or by passing their businesses on to their children. However, according to Forbes Investment Advisors, many retiring owners' attempts to sell their businesses for retirement fail. You cannot sell your business without a business manual. Your children also cannot inherit your business because there is no way to run it. Your business does not have to die when you leave. Their business Bible products will give you the tools you need for a thriving business that can make you money even after you retire. Are you looking at increasing your business's annual revenue? Digital Dandelions can help you make at least $100,000 in annual revenue and expand your business. Speak with them today about solidifying your business. Visit digitaldandelions.com today and get a free 30-minute consultation. All right. Talk tomorrow.